Hello, my dear friend. Welcome to our little corner of the world. I am so happy you are here with us today. My name is Anna, and this is the VUS Learning English podcast. If you are a returning listener, welcome back. It feels so good to have you here again. If this is your first time, a special warm welcome to you. We are so glad you found us. This is a place where we learn English together. We do it slowly. We do it gently. And we do it with a happy heart. Today we have a very important topic. It is a topic for our modern world. We will talk about our minds and how to keep them healthy and strong. The topic today is self-education, your best defense against brain rot. It sounds a little scary, but do not worry. This is a hopeful story. This is a positive story. It is about finding our focus again. It is about learning to love learning again. Thank you so much for choosing to be here. Your time is a gift, and I am so grateful you are sharing it with me. Before we begin, if you like our podcast, please think about it. You can follow or subscribe. This helps other learners find our little community. I'm always curious about you. Where are you listening from today? Are you in your home? Are you on a bus? Are you walking in a park? Are you in Vietnam or Japan or Brazil or Thailand? Wherever you are, I am sending you a warm hello, and I am so happy we are together. Now find a comfortable place. Take a slow, deep breath. Let's begin. Today, I want to tell you a story. It is my story, but maybe it is your story too. It is a story about feeling lost and then finding my way back. A little while ago, I felt that my brain was broken. It did not work like it used to. I wanted to know why. So I did a small experiment. I wanted to measure my attention span. An attention span is how long you can focus on one thing. I took out my phone, I started a timer, then I opened a real book, a book made of paper. I wanted to see how long I could read. How long could I stay with the story? The result was 47 seconds. Yes, only 47 seconds. That is not a long time. It is less than 1 minute. Before I could even finish one page of the book, my mind felt strange. It started to feel itchy. My brain wanted something new. It wanted to look at my phone. It wanted to open a new tab on my computer. My thumb started to move. It was like it was scrolling on a phone that wasn't there. It was a strange feeling. I could not watch a whole movie, not one movie. My eyes would be on the TV screen, but my hand would be on my phone. My mind was in two places. It was fractured, broken into little pieces, and because my mind was in two places, it was also in no place. I was not really watching the movie, and I was not really looking at my phone. I was absorbing nothing. Nothing was going into my brain. It truly felt like my brain was broken. I felt a constant anxiety, a low, humming feeling of worry, all day long. I was always tired. My mind was exhausted. But at the same time, I felt a huge need for more. More information, more news, more pictures, more videos, more noise. It was a need that never ended. It was a hole that could never be filled. Then, one day, something happened. Something very embarrassing. It was my personal rock bottom. It was the lowest point. In that moment, I knew. I knew I had to do something. I was losing myself. I was disappearing into the noise of the internet. This is the story of how I found my way out. It is the story of a simple 4-step method, a method I created for myself. This method cured my internet brain. It gave me back my ability to think deeply. It gave me back my ability to create, to make new things. And it gave me back my ability to just be, to be quiet, to be present, to be here now. So let's talk about this feeling, this internet brain. What is it? Let's give it a name. Let's call it internet brain, or a more popular name is brain rot. The word rot means something is slowly breaking down, like a piece of fruit that goes bad. It is a very strong word, but it describes the feeling so well. It feels like your mind is slowly decaying, slowly losing its strength. This term, brain rot, is so perfect for our time. In fact, it was chosen as Oxford's Word of the Year for 2024. This means many, many people are feeling this way. You are not alone. I am not alone. We are not alone. Oxford defines brain rot like this. It is the supposed deterioration of a person's mental state. This happens from looking at too much online content. Content that is not challenging. Content that is very easy or silly. And for me, it felt exactly like that. A slow, creeping decay. A slow sickness of my most important thing, my mind. How did it start for me? It started very quietly, very subtly. At my job, I would read the same sentence in an email. I would read it again and again, 3 times, 4 times, 5 times. But the words did not go into my brain. My mind just slid off the words, like water sliding off glass. I would sit at my desk to do something important, like write an important email. I would tell myself, okay, time to focus. But 20 minutes later, I would wake up. I was not writing the email. I was on my computer looking at something completely different. Maybe I was 10 tabs deep into a random topic, like learning about birds I had never seen. And I had no idea how I got there. I could not remember making the choice to stop writing my email. I could not remember the journey. So the first symptom was not just distraction. It was a complete loss of intention. Intention is your plan, your choice. It is when you decide, I will do this now. My day was not guided by my own choices anymore. My day was guided by algorithms. Algorithms are the computer programs that decide what you see online. They show you one interesting thing, then another, and another. They leave a trail of digital breadcrumbs. And they are very, very good at their job. Their job is to keep you clicking. This constant switching, it has a cost. It is very tiring for your brain. Scientists call it attention fragmentation. Fragmentation means breaking into small pieces. Imagine this. You're in a very loud room, and you're trying to have 12 conversations at the same time with 12 different people. You turn to one person and say, hello. Then you turn to another person and hear one word. Then another person shows you a picture. Then a loud noise happens. At the end of the day, you would feel so tired. And you would not have had a real conversation with anyone. You only heard little pieces. That is what our brain does when we switch tasks all the time. From work to a notification, to a message, to a video, and back to work. Every time you switch, your brain has to stop and start again. It has to reorient itself. It has to ask, okay, where were we? What were we doing? This makes us feel exhausted, but we have not accomplished anything real. My to-do lists got longer and longer. My anxiety got bigger and bigger. My ability to do deep work was gone. Deep work is a wonderful idea from a writer named Cal Newport. He says deep work is when you are in a state of pure focus. You are working on something difficult, something that needs all of your attention, and there are no interruptions. Deep work is the skill that helps you learn difficult things. It helps you produce amazing work in less time. It is a superpower. For me, that superpower was just gone. My work used to make me feel happy and proud. Now it made me feel a constant low level of dread, a feeling of fear and worry. This fragmentation, this breaking of my focus, was not just about work. It was poisoning my free time too. It was hurting the things I loved. Reading has always been my passion. My whole life I loved books. But now reading felt like a chore. It felt like hard work. A book is quiet. A book asks for your patience. It asks for your singular focus. Just you and the story. But my brain could not do that anymore. The quiet world of a novel could not compete. It could not compete with the constant fireworks of the internet. Boom, a new video, flash, a new picture, bang, a new piece of news. My brain was rewired by years of scrolling. It was now trained for novelty. It was trained for new things. It was trained for instant gratification. It wanted a reward, and it wanted it now. My brain craved the next hit of excitement. There is a writer named Nicholas Carr. He wrote a famous book called The Shallows. He argues that when we are always online, we are always skimming, we are always scanning, we click, we look, we move on. This creates a feedback loop. It feels like we are learning a lot. It feels productive. But we are not really learning. We are not consolidating the information. We are not moving it from our short-term memory to our long-term memory. We are becoming very good at finding information, but we are losing the ability to connect that information. We are losing the ability to build a rich world inside our minds. This rich mental world is the foundation of true intelligence. It is the foundation of wisdom. But the scariest part for me, the part that really broke my heart, was how it affected my relationships, my connection with people I love. I remember one evening very clearly. I was at a restaurant having dinner with a dear friend. I had not seen her in many months. We were sitting across from each other. She was telling me something important. She was pouring her heart out to me. And as she was talking, I felt it. That familiar pull, that nagging feeling. My phone was in my pocket. It was on silent, but my mind was on the phone. Is there a new email? Did someone send me a message? What is the new headline? I was physically there in the restaurant. My body was in the chair, but my mind was somewhere else. My mind was in the digital world. My friend, my dear friend, deserved my full attention. She deserved all of me, but my internet brain, my dopamine-addled mind, it kept whispering to me. It whispered, "Hey, maybe something more interesting is happening on your phone." I was robbing the people I cared about. I was stealing my own attention from them. And when I did that, I was robbing myself. I was robbing myself of real connection, of real friendship. Cal Newport talks about this too. He says there is a difference between connection and conversation. Connection is low bandwidth. It is a like on a photo. It is a short comment. So cute. Great picture. Conversation is high bandwidth. It is sitting with someone, looking in their eyes, listening to their voice, sharing a real moment. My life was full of low bandwidth connection, and it was making me feel deeply, profoundly lonely. I was surrounded by noise, but I felt all alone. I knew I had to understand. What was happening to me? Why was this so hard? I knew it was not just about willpower. It was not because I was lazy. It was not because I was undisciplined. My brain chemistry was working against me. There is a chemical in our brain. You have probably heard its name. It is called dopamine. People often call dopamine the pleasure molecule, but that is not quite right. It is more accurate to call it the motivation molecule, or maybe the wanting molecule. Dopamine is what drives you. It is what makes you seek out rewards. It makes you say, I want that. Our brains are designed to release dopamine for a very important reason. It is a survival tool. For our ancient ancestors, dopamine was essential. It helped them find food. It helped them find water. It helped them find a partner. It helped them notice new things in the world, which could be danger or opportunity. The problem is, modern technology has hijacked the system. It has hacked our brains. Every notification on your phone, every like on your post, every new video in your feed, each one is a tiny little reward, and it is unpredictable. You do not know what you will get. The companies that make our apps and websites know this. They design their platforms to be like slot machines in a casino. Think about a slot machine. You pull the lever. Maybe you get nothing. Maybe you get a small prize. Maybe you get the big jackpot. You never know. This unpredictability is called a variable reward schedule, and it is extremely addictive. Refreshing your social media feed is like pulling the lever on a slot machine. You pull down to refresh. What will you get? Nothing interesting? A picture of a cute cat? Or some exciting, dramatic news? Your brain releases a little bit of dopamine just thinking about what you might see. It is a feeling of anticipation, and that feeling makes you want to pull the lever again, and again, and again. You get caught in a dopamine loop, endlessly scrolling, endlessly searching for a reward that never really satisfies you. It just makes you want to scroll more. This constant stimulation does more than just make you feel busy. It actually changes the structure of your brain. It changes the physical wiring. This is possible because of a wonderful, hopeful concept. It is called neuroplasticity. For a very long time, scientists believed the adult brain was fixed. They thought that after childhood, your brain did not change very much. But now we know that is not true. The brain is remarkably plastic, like soft clay. It can reorganize itself. It can form new connections between brain cells called neurons. It can do this your entire life. Our repeated actions and thoughts shape our brain. A famous saying in neuroscience is, neurons that fire together, wire together. Let's make that simpler. Imagine your brain is a grassy field. When you walk across the field once, you leave a small trail. If you walk the same path every single day, what happens? The trail becomes deeper. It becomes a path. It becomes very easy to walk on that path. Your feet will naturally want to follow it. Your thoughts and actions are like walking in that field. When you do something over and over, you create a strong path in your brain. So if you spend hours every day switching tasks, responding to notifications, reading tiny bits of information, you are strengthening the neural pathways for distraction. You are walking the distraction path over and over. You are literally training your brain to be good at being distracted. And at the same time, the other paths get weaker. The paths for sustained focus, for deep thought, for quiet contemplation. Those paths start to grow over with grass. They become harder to walk on. This is the use it or lose it principle, and it applies to your mind. You are not just acting distracted. You are, in a very real way, becoming a more distracted person. Your brain is adapting to the environment you put it in. Imagine a cactus. A cactus is built for the desert. It is built for a dry, quiet environment with lots of sun. Now imagine you put that cactus in a rainforest. A rainforest is wet. It is noisy. It is full of stimulation. The cactus cannot thrive in the rainforest. It will get sick. It is the wrong environment. Our brains were built for the desert in a way. They were built for a world with much less information. But we are living in a digital rainforest, a monsoon of constant stimulation, and our brains are struggling to adapt. This led me to another idea. It is called the cognitive reserve hypothesis. That sounds complicated, so let's make it simple. Imagine you have a piggy bank for your brain. Every time you do something mentally challenging, you put a coin in the piggy bank. Like reading a difficult book, or learning a new language, or learning to play a musical instrument, or even having a deep conversation. You are building up a reserve of cognitive ability, a savings account for your mind. This reserve is very helpful. As we get older, our brains naturally change. This cognitive reserve helps our brain stay healthy and strong. It helps our brain cope with challenges. But when we spend all our time on passive, easy online content, when we just scroll and watch silly videos, we are not putting any coins in our brain's piggy bank. In fact, we might be taking coins out. We are living off our cognitive savings, and we are not making any new deposits. But here is the good news. Here is the glimmer of hope that I held onto. Neuroplasticity is not a one-way street. It is not a sad story with a bad ending. It is a story of hope. The same mechanism that wired your brain for distraction can be used to rewire it for focus. You can create new paths in the grassy field of your brain by deliberately, intentionally practicing new habits. You can forge new neural pathways. You can strengthen your ability to concentrate. You can build your focus muscle just like a muscle at the gym. This was the beautiful scientific truth that saved me. My brain was not permanently broken. It was just poorly trained. It had a bad coach. And I was about to become its new trainer. But first, I had to hit rock bottom. The turning point for me was not a gentle realization. It was not a soft whisper. It was a crash. A loud, painful, embarrassing crash. A professional faceplant. I was leading a big project at my job. It was my big chance. My chance to show what I could do. It all came down to one presentation. A 90-minute presentation. I had to speak to my company's senior leaders. The CEO would be there. And a very important client would be there too. I had weeks to prepare, and I thought I knew the information very well. I thought I was ready. In the past, before my internet brain, preparing for something like this was a calm, organized process. I would lock myself in a quiet room. I would study the data. I would create a story with the information. I would practice my words until they felt like my own. But this time was different. This time, my internet brain was in control. Every time I sat down to work, it took over. I would open my PowerPoint presentation. And then, almost without thinking, a new tab would open in my web browser. I'll just quickly check this one fact, I would tell myself. That one fact led to an interesting article. That article had a link to a cool study. That study had a video in it. And suddenly an hour was gone. Evaporated. Vanished. I was doing a lot of work-adjacent activities, activities that felt like work, but were not the real work. It felt productive. I'm learning so much, I thought, but I was not doing the actual hard work. The hard work was synthesizing that information, connecting the ideas, building the presentation, telling the story. Instead, I was just collecting digital junk. I was like a squirrel, gathering thousands of nuts, but forgetting where I buried them. The night before the presentation, I was in a total panic. My heart was beating so fast. I looked at my slide deck. It was a mess. It was a Frankenstein's monster of ideas. A little piece of data here, a random chart there. Nothing was connected. The story was gone. I stayed up until 3 o'clock in the morning. I was so tired. I drank coffee to stay awake. My body was full of caffeine and terror. I tried to put anything together. It's okay, I told myself. I know this stuff. It's all in my head somewhere. I'll just wing it. I'll be fine. The next day, I stood at the front of that big conference room. The lights were bright. The CEO was sitting at the table looking at me. The important client was there, looking at me. All the eyes in the room were on me. And my mind was completely, totally blank. It was a white wall. Nothing. I started talking. I opened my mouth and words came out, but they felt like someone else's words. They were empty. I clicked to the next slide. It was a slide full of complex numbers and charts. And for one terrifying second, I did not recognize it. I could not remember what it meant. I could not remember the key message. My brain, which was so used to skimming and surface level looking, it could not find the deeper connections because I had never made those connections. Then the questions started. The leaders and the client started asking questions. They were simple questions, predictable questions, questions I should have been ready for. And I fumbled. I did not have the answers. Not because I was not smart, but because I had not done the deep work. I had not really thought about the material. I had not wrestled with it. I had not challenged it. I had not made it my own. I had only collected it. My mind was like a library. But in this library, all the books were thrown on the floor in a giant pile. There were no shelves, no organization. I knew the information was in that room somewhere, but I could not find it when I needed it. Those 90 minutes felt like 90 years. It was an eternity. I could feel the energy in the room change. At first, people were excited and interested. Then they became confused. And finally, they looked disappointed. I saw my boss. He gave me a look. It was a mix of pity and frustration. That look hurt more than anything. When it was finally over, people clapped politely. But that polite applause felt like a funeral song. I had not just failed. I had failed in a big public way. I walked back to my desk. My face was burning with shame. I felt so small. I sat down in my chair. I closed my laptop and I just stared at the blank black screen. That was it. That was my rock bottom. It was not about one bad presentation. It was about a horrifying realization. The realization that I had lost control of my own mind, my ambition, my intelligence, my years of hard work. None of it mattered because the tool I needed to use them all my focus was shattered. It was broken into a million tiny pieces. The internet, the tool that promised to make me smarter, the tool that promised to make me more productive. It had done the opposite. It had made me feel stupid and ineffective. And in that moment of quiet, deep humiliation, I made a promise to myself, a very serious promise. I was done. I was finished with living this way. I was going to take my brain back. Hitting rock bottom hurts. It hurts a lot. But it can also be a gift. It can be clarifying. It makes you see things clearly for the first time. It forced me to stop looking for easy answers. I stopped looking for a new productivity app. I stopped looking for a quick fix. I realized the problem was much deeper. I did not need to organize my messy workflow better. I needed to rebuild my mind from the ground up. So I started reading, but I read differently this time. I did not skim short articles online. I went to a bookstore and I bought physical books. I read them with a pen in my hand. I underlined sentences. I wrote notes in the margins. I read books by writers like Cal Newport and Nicholas Carr. I read about neuroscience, the science of the brain. I read about philosophy, the study of wisdom. I read about technology and its effect on us. And I discovered something important. The solution was not a dramatic digital detox. It was not about throwing my phone in the ocean and moving to a forest. That just did not feel realistic for my life. The solution was about one powerful word: intentionality. It was about being intentional. It was about making choices on purpose. It was about shifting from a life of passive consumption where you just sit and let information wash over you to a life of active creation, where you make things, do things, and build things. From all of this reading and thinking, I created a system. It was not complicated. In fact, it was very simple. Its power was in its simplicity. I called it the Focus Rebuild Framework. A framework is like a strong house for your ideas. This framework is not about adding more things to your to-do list. It is about changing what is on your plate entirely. It is a 4-step process. It is designed to do 2 things. First, it systematically starves the part of your brain that craves distraction. It stops feeding the monster. Second, it feeds the part of your brain that loves deep, meaningful focus. It nourishes the quiet, strong part of you. This framework is what helped me. It took me from a 47-second attention span to being able to read a book for hours. It is what cleared the fog in my mind. It brought my creativity roaring back to life. It is what allowed me to be truly present, to be really there with the people I love. This is not a magic trick. It is not a pill you can take. It takes work. It takes patience. It takes kindness to yourself. But it is a path, a clear, gentle path. It is a way out of the shallow water and back into the deep, beautiful ocean of the mind. So, are you ready? Let's walk this path together. Here is the first step. It is the most important step. Step 1. Choose. The first step is to choose. This sounds so simple, deceptively simple. But in our modern digital world, it is a radical act. It is an act of rebellion. For years, I was not choosing my interests. The algorithms were choosing for me. My curiosity was guided by the trending page, the viral video, the clickbait headline. The result was that my knowledge was a mile wide but an inch deep. I knew a tiny little bit about a lot of things, but I knew nothing deeply. My knowledge was shallow. Step 1 is about taking back your curiosity. It is about reclaiming this beautiful human part of you. It is about consciously choosing one topic. Just one. A topic that you want to learn about. And this choice must come from inside you. It must be a genuine internal spark, not something the world told you to be interested in. The topic itself does not really matter. What matters is that you chose it. It is your own. What could it be? Anything. It could be learning to identify the birds in your neighborhood. It could be understanding the history of your city. It could be learning how to bake delicious sourdough bread. It could be learning how to play the guitar. It could be exploring the philosophy of the ancient Stoics. It could be learning how to grow your own vegetables. The key is to listen. Listen to that quiet, small voice inside you. That voice has been drowned out by all the digital noise, but it is still there. What have you always been a little bit curious about? What topic makes your ears perk up when you hear people talking about it? Do not pick something because you think it is productive. Do not pick something because you think it will look good on your resume. Pick something purely for you, for your own fascination, for your own joy. This is very important because genuine, real interest is the fuel. It is the energy that will power you through the beginning when sustained focus still feels hard. For me, my choice was completely random. It was mycology. Mycology is the study of fungi, the study of mushrooms. I was on a walk in the woods. I started walking more to get away from screens. And on my walk, I saw a strange and beautiful mushroom on a tree. It looked like a work of art. A little flicker of curiosity ignited in my heart. A tiny spark. In the past, I would have taken a quick picture for Instagram. Then I would have forgotten about it 1 minute later. But this time, I did something different. I decided this will be my thing. I am going to learn about mushrooms. This simple act of choosing did something profound. It changed everything. It gave my scattered, fragmented attention a single place to go. It gave my mind a focal point. It was like a lighthouse in the middle of my mental fog. Instead of being pulled in 1,000 different directions by 1,000 different notifications, I now had one direction, my own direction. And this gave me a new power when the urge to mindlessly scroll on my phone appeared. That itchy feeling in my brain, I had a new default action, a new, better thing to do. I could ask myself, what can I learn about mycology right now? Maybe I could read 1 page in my mushroom book. Maybe I could watch 1 minute of my mycology course. Choosing your topic is your declaration of independence. It is your freedom from the algorithm. It is you standing up and saying to the digital world, you do not get to decide what I care about. I do. This one simple shift changes you. It changes you from a passive recipient of information to an active seeker of knowledge. This is the cornerstone. This is the foundation for rebuilding your focus. It creates a why. And when your why is strong enough, you can overcome any how. Your brain has been running on cheap fuel, the junk food of novelty and distraction. Now, you are about to give it a taste of something amazing. The high-octane fuel of genuine passion, the healthy food of real curiosity. And once your brain gets that taste, it will start to crave it. It will want more of the good stuff, more than the junk food it has been living on. So that is step 1. Choose your topic. Now for step 2. Step 2. Gather. Once you have chosen your one topic, the second step is to gather. But wait, this is a very specific kind of gathering. It is not the kind of gathering we usually do online. Usually we open 50 tabs in our browser. We bookmark 100 articles we will never read. We save 200 videos to our watch later list. That is not gathering. That is hoarding, digital hoarding. It just creates more anxiety and clutter. This step is different. This step is about intentional curation. You are going to curate a small, high-quality collection of resources. What does curate mean? Think about a museum curator. A curator is the person who chooses what goes into the museum. A curator does not just put every old object they can find into a room. No, that would be a messy, confusing room. A curator carefully selects a few perfect pieces. Pieces that are beautiful, pieces that are important, pieces that together tell a clear and wonderful story. That is what you need to do for your brain. You need to become the curator of your own mental diet. You choose what information goes into your mind. So for my mycology project, my mushroom project, I was very strict. I did not just go to Google and type mushrooms and fall down another rabbit hole. I applied clear rules to my gathering process. My first rule was prioritize physical over digital. The internet is an environment designed for distraction. A physical book is an environment designed for focus. A book has only one purpose. Its purpose is to be read. There are no notifications in a book. There are no hyperlinks to click. There is no one trying to sell you something. It is just you and the paper and the words. So I went to a local bookstore and I bought 2 books about mushrooms. 2 highly recommended foundational books. The kind of books that experts said were the best place to start. The weight of the books in my hand felt good. It felt real, substantial. It felt like an investment in my focus, an investment in my mind. My second rule was, for digital resources, be incredibly selective. I knew I could not learn everything from books. Some things are easier to learn from videos or audio. But I did not want a random collection of YouTube videos. I wanted structure. So I did some careful research. I found one online course. It was a comprehensive course from a good university. It had a clear syllabus, a clear plan, lesson 1, lesson 2, lesson 3. A clear path. I also found 2 podcasts. They were long-form podcasts. This means they were deep conversations, not short news clips. And they were hosted by expert mycologists. And that was it. That was my entire curriculum. 2 books, 1 online course, 2 podcasts. That's it. 5 things. And do you know how that felt? It felt liberating. It felt like freedom. It eliminated the paradox of choice. The paradox of choice is when having too many options makes you feel stressed and unable to choose anything. I no longer had to waste my mental energy every day deciding what to learn or where to learn it from. The path was already laid out. My only job was to walk the path. This is a core idea from Cal Newport's philosophy of digital minimalism. He teaches us that digital clutter is costly. It drains our brain's energy. It gets in the way of what really matters. After I gathered my 5 resources, I created a learning hub, a special place for my new interest. On my computer, I made one single folder. The folder was named Mycology. Inside, there was a link to the online course and a link to the podcasts. That's all. And on my bedside table, I placed my 2 mushroom books. That was my entire universe for this new interest. My little knowledge garden. When it was time to learn, I did not have to go out into the wild, chaotic jungle of the internet. I could go to my small, curated, peaceful garden of knowledge. This step is so important. It is about creating an environment for yourself. An environment where focus is easy, where focus is the path of least resistance. By intentionally limiting your inputs, your resources, you free up your mental bandwidth. You free up your brain's energy for the most important work. And that work is learning, understanding, and connecting ideas. You are taking control of your information environment. Instead of trying to drink from a fire hose, you are sitting down to sip a handcrafted cup of high-quality tea. This curation process is an act of deep respect. It is an act of respect for your own attention. It is you saying, my focus is valuable, and I will only spend it on the best possible material. So we have step 1, choose, and step 2, gather. Now for step 3, this is where the magic really starts to happen. Step 3, do. This step is where we start to build those strong new paths in our brain. This is where we really make the learning stick. Step 3 is to do. You must move from being a passive consumer of information to being an active creator, an active participant. Reading about your topic is good. Watching videos about it is fine. But to truly learn it, to make the knowledge part of you, to integrate it into your very being, you have to get your hands dirty. The internet has trained us to be spectators. We are an audience. We watch other people live their lives. We watch other people bake bread. We watch other people build furniture. We watch other people play video games. We watch other people have adventures. The do step is about getting off the sidelines. It is about getting out of your chair and into the game. This is where neuroplasticity, our brain's ability to change, really shines. When you engage your mind and your body together in a task, you create much richer, stronger, more robust neural connections. The learning path in your brain becomes a super highway. You are not just using your eyes to read. You are using your hands, your nose, your ears. You are using your whole body. Cal Newport calls this a high-value leisure activity. It is a hobby that requires you to use a skill to create something in the physical world. For my mycology project, the do phase changed everything. It made the learning real. I took one of my guidebooks, I put on my hiking boots, and I went into the woods. But this time, I had a mission. My mission was not just to walk. My mission was to find and identify 3 different species of mushrooms. Suddenly, the forest was not just a blurry green background. It was a living textbook. I was forced to look closer to really see. I had to pay attention to the texture of the bark on a tree, the dampness of the soil under my feet, the shape and color of the gills under a mushroom cap. I was using all of my senses. I was not just reading the words turkey tail mushroom in a book. I was in the forest, touching its soft, velvety surface. I was smelling its earthy, woody scent. I took pictures, not for social media, but for my own records, for my own learning. I came home with mud on my boots. I sat down with my books, and I slowly, carefully tried to identify what I had found. I was wrong on my first few tries. This process of trying and failing and trying again, it was a powerful way to learn. It was slow. Sometimes it was frustrating, but it was so deeply rewarding. Then I took it one step further. I went online and I bought a simple mushroom growing kit, an oyster mushroom kit. It came in a little box. My job was to mist a block of soil with water every day. I watched it, fascinated, and one day I saw them. The first tiny little pins of mushrooms starting to emerge. They were so small. A few weeks later, I harvested my own crop of beautiful oyster mushrooms, and I cooked them for dinner. The satisfaction I felt eating something that I had cultivated myself, something that started as just a tiny flicker of curiosity on a walk. That feeling was immense. It was a tangible, physical, delicious result of my focused effort. Whatever your chosen topic is, you must find a way to do it. You must find a way to make it active. If you chose to learn about the Stoic philosophers, don't just read the books of Marcus Aurelius. You must practice the principles. Keep a journal like he did. Practice the exercise of thinking about what could go wrong to be prepared. Engage with the philosophy as a lived daily experience. If you chose to learn how to code, don't just watch tutorials online. You must build something. It can be very simple. A simple website for a friend, a tiny game, a small script that helps you with a boring task at work. The act of writing the code, debugging the errors, and seeing your creation come to life, that is where the real learning happens. If you chose to learn about baking, don't just watch cooking shows on TV. Get flour on your hands, feel the dough, knead it. Probably you will fail at first. Maybe you will make a loaf of bread that is as hard as a rock. That's okay. You will learn from it and you will try again. The do step is the antidote. It is the medicine for the passivity of internet brain. It proves to you on a deep, visceral level that you are not just a container for information. You are not just a bucket that people pour content into. You are an agent in the world. You are a creator. You can make things. You can have an effect on the world around you. This step builds more than just knowledge. It builds confidence. It rebuilds the link between your mind and your body. A link that was broken by a culture that tells us to live our lives through screens. This step is about remembering how to be a human being in a physical world. We have come so far. Step 1, choose. Step 2, gather. Step 3, do. And now for the final quiet step. Step 4, think about it. The final step is maybe the quietest one, but it is the step that makes everything stick. It solidifies all of your progress. Step 4 is to think about it. You must create a structured, regular practice for reflection. Scientists have a fancy word for this. They call it metacognition. But that is just a big word for a simple idea. Thinking about your thinking. This is the process that takes all the scattered pieces of information you learned and weaves them together. It turns them into a strong, durable fabric of knowledge. It's like making a beautiful quilt from many small pieces of cloth. This is the step that builds that important cognitive reserve. It puts coins in your brain's piggy bank. In our hyper-stimulated world, we rarely give ourselves time to just process. We finish one thing and immediately jump to the next thing. We read one article and instantly click on another one. We have an experience, and we rush to post a picture of it online before we have even understood what the experience meant to us. The think about it step is a deliberate, scheduled pause. It is an appointment you make with yourself. It is about closing the loop on your learning. The most effective and simple tool for this is a journal, a physical notebook, and a pen. No screens. At the end of each week, I would set aside 30 minutes. This was my mycology reflection time. I would make a cup of tea, I would sit in a quiet corner, and I would open my notebook. I did not have a strict formula, but I would generally ask myself 3 simple questions. Question 1, what did I learn this week? I would try to write down the main ideas I learned about mushrooms. But I had to write them in my own words. I would not just copy sentences from my books. I would try to explain the idea simply, as if I were explaining it to a friend who knew nothing about it. For example, I would try to explain the difference between two types of mushrooms. This act of retrieving information from your memory and then rephrasing it, it is scientifically proven to make your memory much stronger. Question 2. What was difficult or surprising? This question pushed me to go deeper. It pushed me beyond just facts. I wrote about my frustration when I misidentified a mushroom. I wrote about my surprise and wonder when I learned about the huge underground networks of mycelium that connect an entire forest. It is like a secret, hidden internet for trees. This is where learning moves from just gathering facts to creating genuine understanding. Question 3. How does this connect to what I already know? For me, this was the most powerful question of all. This is where true creativity is born. I started seeing connections everywhere. I connected the symbiotic relationship between fungi and tree roots to the idea of good business partnerships, where both partners help each other grow. I connected the way a mycelial network distributes nutrients through the forest to the way good information flows through a healthy community. My mind, which for so long had been trained to just jump from one disconnected topic to another, my mind was now actively looking for deep connections. It was building bridges between ideas. And this is the very essence of creativity. Creativity is not about pulling magical ideas out of thin air. Creativity is about connecting existing ideas in new and interesting ways. My creativity was coming back to me because I was finally giving my brain the quiet space it needed to make those connections. This weekly ritual became a sanctuary for me. It was a safe place. It was a quiet, analog, deeply human activity. In the middle of my loud, digital, busy week, it was proof. Proof that I had not just consumed information. I had integrated it. I had made it part of me. My knowledge was no longer a shallow, wide ocean. It was becoming a deep, clear well. A well from which I could draw real insight. Real wisdom. This final step is non-negotiable. You cannot skip it. It is the harvest. Steps 1, 2, and 3 are like planting seeds, watering the plants, tending the garden. But if you never take the time to harvest the vegetables, the crop will just wither and die on the vine. Reflection is what turns experience into wisdom. It is what turns a fleeting interest into a lasting passion. So that is the framework. Choose, gather, do. Think about it. Simple, right? But life-changing. So what does my life look like now? What is on the other side of this journey? It is not that I am now a perfect robot, a super-focused productivity machine. Not at all. I am still human. I still have a smartphone. I still use the internet. I still have a social media account. The difference is the relationship. The internet is now a tool that I use. It is not a force that uses me. The frantic, anxious, nagging pull is gone. The relationship has changed. It has moved from addiction to intention. The most noticeable change for me is the return of deep reading. I can now sit for 1 hour or 2 hours with a difficult book, and I can stay completely immersed in it. The mental static, the noise in my head is gone. In its place, there is a quiet, peaceful stillness. I can follow a complex argument in a book from the beginning to the end, I can hold the whole structure of the argument in my mind. This feels like a superpower I had forgotten that I possessed. My bookshelf is growing again, and every new book on it represents hours of focused, joyful engagement. My work has been completely transformed. The feeling of dread is gone. I can now block off 3 hours on my calendar for deep work, and I can actually do it. I can focus. The quality of my work is much, much better. But more importantly, the feeling of satisfaction from my work has returned. I feel like a craftsman again, a proud maker, not a frantic, stressed out assembly line worker. And remember that embarrassing presentation? I was given a second chance. I was able to redo that project, this time with my new focused mind. And it was a huge success. I even got a promotion because of it. And my creativity, it is back. And it feels different now. Ideas do not feel forced anymore. I do not have to sit down and try so hard to be creative. The ideas just arrive. They come to me when I'm in the shower, or when I'm on my walks in the woods, or during my quiet moments of reflection with my journal. My brain is no longer overwhelmed. It is no longer drinking from a fire hose of new information all day. So it finally has the quiet space it needs. Space to breathe, space to connect, space to synthesize, space to imagine, space to create. But perhaps the most precious gift of all has been the return of presence, the ability to be fully here now. When I am at dinner with a friend now, I am there, 100% there. My phone is in my bag, out of sight, and more importantly, it is out of mind. I can listen, not just wait for my turn to speak, but to truly hear and understand what the other person is saying. I can hold eye contact. I can see the small changes in their expression. I can hear the subtle shifts in their tone of voice. These are the tiny, beautiful things that make up the rich texture of a real human connection. These are the things I was completely missing when my mind was fragmented. My relationships feel deeper now, richer, more real. Life feels slower now, in the best possible way. The frantic rush from one dopamine hit to the next has been replaced by a calmer, more deliberate, more joyful engagement with the world. The world has not changed, but my experience of the world has changed completely. It is like I was listening to life through a broken, blown-out speaker. Everything was scratchy and distorted, and now I am hearing it in high-fidelity stereo. The sound is clear and rich and beautiful. The colors seem brighter, the food tastes richer, the moments feel deeper. My journey back from the edge of brain rot taught me something so important. It taught me that the fight for our focus is not really about productivity. It is not about getting more things done. It is about reclaiming our humanity. It is about our right to choose what we care about. It is about our right to think our own thoughts. And it is about our right to be fully present in our own one and only life. This 4-step focus rebuild framework. Choose, gather, do, and think about it. It is not another life hack. It is a philosophy. It is a gentle, kind, systematic way to retrain your attention, to remind your brain what it feels like to engage deeply with something meaningful. And it is proof that you are not broken. Your brain is not broken. It has just been operating in a very hostile, noisy environment. And you have the power to change that environment. You have the power to build your own peaceful garden. You do not have to start by learning about something strange like mycology. You just have to start. You do not have to master all 4 steps overnight. Just start with one. So here is my gentle invitation to you today. Start with step 1. Just choose. Let go of the algorithm for a little while. Turn down the noise and listen to yourself. Listen to that quiet whisper in your heart. What is one thing, just one thing, that you are genuinely curious about? It can be big or small. It does not matter. Then I invite you to do 2 things. First, take one tiny small action toward it. Do not fall down a rabbit hole. Just buy one book, or sign up for one free online course, or borrow one documentary from the library. Make one small, intentional choice. Second, share your choice with us. Leave a comment below this episode. I truly want to know. What does internet brain feel like for you? And what is the one topic, the one spark of curiosity you are going to choose to pursue? There is a whole community of us here, people who are tired of living in the shallow water. Let's stop just talking about the problem. Let's become a community of focus, a community of creators. Let's start rebuilding our beautiful minds together, one intentional choice at a time. Thank you so much for being here today. Thank you for your kindness. And thank you for sharing your most valuable asset with me, your attention. Learning is a journey, not a race. Be patient with yourself, be kind to yourself, and keep going. You are doing a wonderful job. See you next time, my friend.